gold down there, Diane. There's gold down there.
You're like their number one favorite guy. Because you won them cash.
It's the tour report from Secret Golf, and this week, a big week because the PGA Tour is in Houston. And Elk, with it being in your hometown, you are a busy man, as we can see, because you're in your car, going somewhere, doing something.
I'm doing the Houston Open Pro-Am for Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros. He redid the Memorial Course. He put a ton of money in for the city of Houston, redid this whole Memorial Park area. We have a brand new sponsor. Hewlett Packard came in, so they've already got their name on the tournament. But Jim Crane was the guy that put all this back together, and we're doing a Pro-Am today, River Oaks, for that.
Because a couple of years ago, the Houston Open was in danger of becoming extinct, and Jim Crane, who will be a little bit disappointed right now because of the Astros' finish in the World Series, probably as disappointed as you are as well, let's be honest. But you're right, he put all this money into Memorial Park Golf Course, which is a municipal course. I mean, they have over 60,000 people playing this course every year. And it's brilliant not only for the PGA Tour to still have the Houston Open and the guys to come and play this course. You can see it behind me, you know, the city right there. But just for the city of Houston in general, you know, it's huge for them to have a tournament of this stature on this course.
Yeah, and Memorial Park is inner city course, so it's inside the loop, so it's everyone can access Memorial Park. It's all surrounded by tons and tons of land, people, joggers, all that. It's a very famous course. I mean, it's played tons of Houston Opens back in the day here. Tom Doak was brought in to do this course. You know, it wasn't that well received last year. It was very severe in places. I mean, guys like Phil Mickelson, some of the greatest chippers in the world, 6 chipped on one hole. I remember Pat Perez was staying with me. He 5 chipped, and they had too much slope in a few of the greens. And they've softened some of the greens, but I had a long conversation with Jason Duffton last night, and the course is not in very good shape. You mentioned 60,000 public rounds around this course. They kept it open for a long time, Diane. And the turf conditions are not very good. We're going to talk about what that's going to impact our handicapping even of this week, because a lot of these greens are pushed up in the air, and when you miss the greens around it and turf's bad, you can't get the ball in the air. So it's going to be a very, you know, it's changed everything for me, Diane, doing my handicapping. Haven't even shared any of my good info with you about who my picks are this week.
And with it being a municipal course, surely the greens are bigger than PGA Tour standard, but you hit the nail on the head, and that was the big takeaway from last year. And we kind of knew that heading into it, that one of the real characteristics of this course for the guys was going to be the fact there's all these drop-offs and these run-outs from the greens, which is going to make it really difficult. Actually, last year we caught up with Bradley Hughes, who coaches a lot of PGA Tour players, and he had walked the course and then talked to us, and he had said that it's a long course. I mean, it's over 7,400 yards. It's a bit of a bomber's course. However, he had said, you know, that accuracy, getting your ball on the right side of the hole is pivotal because of these runoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the way tour players think now, they're like, if I can hit over 70% of my greens and reg this week, I'm going to take 50% of the purse. I mean, they already know, all the tour players that I spoke to yesterday, Diane, they already know what it's going to take to do well on this event. You said that it's long. Yeah, it is long. There's two par 4s that are over 500 yards. Pat Perez, who's staying with me this week, said a couple of times last year he didn't hit great drives off the first hole or the 14th hole. He had 5 wood. Another player, Jason Duffner, said, you know, a lot of these second shots with long irons, it doesn't appear like you can actually, it doesn't look like the ball will actually stay on that green up there. You know, you look it in there, it's got a lot of hills. I said, well, is it more hilly than Pinehurst? Because we know Pinehurst is famous for upside down cereal bowl greens. He said, oh, no. He said, it's way more severe than Pinehurst. Oh. So, you know, this week, I mentioned it just a second ago, the turf's not very good. And when you have greens that are up in the air and your ball runs off, you can't get the club under it real easy, so it becomes more difficult to pitch. And I said, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to handle that? He said, well, I'll use a technique where I'll get the heel of the club. We've talked about this at Secret Golf, and I'm going to do the best I can. But he said one thing for sure: if you short side yourself on the second shots, in other words, if the pin is cutting the right side of the green and you miss on the right, it's over. You got no chance, zero. So that starts to build some things in my mind, Diane. Who's patient enough to play this course correctly? And we know Carlos Ortiz won it last year. He was number one in scrambling. You know, I've started to think about this course, Diane. I'm looking for guys that actually hit the ball onto the green, can keep it there, but they've got to be able to chip the ball when they miss. Otherwise, they're not going to win this event.
Yeah, I mean, that scrambling stat is key. As you said, Carlos Ortiz was first in scrambling. He was fifth in longest drive of the week, ninth in greens in regulation. But the stats that I think are like really interesting to look at is the fact he was 57th in putts per greens in reg, which is really telling, and 76th in accuracy. And Bradley Hughes had said that to us last year, that off the tee, it's pretty wide open. That's why, you know, accuracy is not premium. It's really going to benefit the guys that can whack it down there.
Whack it, indeed. Yeah, I think, you know, only 13 under won this tournament. We're so used to seeing tour players shoot 23, 24. So 13 under is just, you know, that's like 4 under each day. So there was a lot of carnage last year in chipping. You know, the ninth hole particularly was one that was just awful, they said, and they've lowered that green and fixed it. But when I start to look at some of these players, I'm not going to give you the one that I think is going to win this week, but I have to link together, Diane, guys that hit greens. But when they do hit greens, are they smart enough to hit it on the wide side? Are you patient enough, a tour player, to be able to play wide all week away from the short drop-offs? Because I've already said, everyone's told me already, Elk, you can't get up and down if you miss it on the short side. So who's patient enough? Who will play the golf course out wide, take 2 or 3 under? It's not going to be, they're not going to sprint away and do 20 under. It's just 2. The turf's not good enough to get that kind of scoring going. So I've got a few. I mean, these aren't my pick. This is not my winner, but SUNGJAE is very high in 2 of those stats. He hits a lot of greens. He pitches the ball really well. He's been in good form already for this season, but you know, that style of player is one I'm looking at.
Okay, right. Well, we've given you our course breakdown, so we are going to move on to our picks. We're each going to give you our favourite, our one to watch, and then our dark horse. Elk, remember, the dark horse has to be over 100 to 1. So if you're cheating me again this week,
I've got a beauty today. I'm over 300 today. I'm over 300.
Okay. Yep. Right. Well, it's all coming up on the Tour Report this week for the Houston Open.
The SG Tour Golf Gaming app. The place for you to compete and win cash on PGA Tour events. The SG Tour is a golf experience like no other, with games designed by golf professionals. You can play single-day games and tournament-long contests each week. It's easy to get involved. Join or create a game for you and your buddies. Pick 4 players and follow along with the action. And if you need some help with your picks, we've got you covered with our weekly handicapping show, The Tour Report, and exclusive content with our PGA Tour players. Join the fun and win money on the SG Tour, available in the App Store.
Well, this week the PGA Tour is in Elk's hometown of Houston. Today, well, you're actually sitting in your car because you're playing in the Pro-Am. What course are you at today?
I'm at a course called River Oaks. It's a famous course in right down next to the tour site. And this is a lot of celebrities are here today. A lot of the baseball guys that are left over from the Astros season. Of course, the same logo, the Houston Astros, is the same logo as the Houston Open. Same guy owns both. So, yeah, we're down here. You know, this is payback, Diane, for all the free tickets I got to go to the Astros all year from Mr. Crane.
That was the deal. That's a pretty sweet deal. Let's be real. So,
sweet deal.
Yeah, and you were just saying that Pat Perez is staying at your house. A lot of the secret golf guys are going to be at your house. You're going to have them over, catch up with them. So, I mean, it's a great week in general. You always look forward to this week, but they have a really good field playing too.
Yeah, the course, it looks good. I think I'm going to go down there tomorrow, Pro-Am Day, and see, you know, people like your brother, you know, Patton Kazia's here, Brian Harmon's here, Chris Stroud's coming back from a long break. I'm gonna try to get down there tomorrow. I may play golf with Jason Duffner. He played yesterday in the Pro-Am. We may go play Champions Club, see Mr. Burke. So there's, it reminds me when I was on tour, Diana, don't miss these 4:30 wake-up calls and trying to get yourself organized to play. But I'm not missing anything other than just seeing the guys come through town.
Okay, right. Well, we've looked at the course, Memorial Park, with it being a municipal, a lot of traffic on this course, and we saw Carlos Ortiz win last year. Dustin Johnson was right there, Hideki Matsuyama. So we are going to see the cream rise to the top and expect a lot from the big hitters this week. But we are going to give you our picks, and we're both going to start with our outright favourite to win. And you have been extremely coy with your picks so far this week. I have no idea who you're going for in any of the categories. I want to go back to last week very quickly and just say that a lot of our picks were doing very well. We didn't have Hovland, but we did have Matt Wolff, we had Taylor Gooch, Aaron Wise. We had a lot of the guys that were really in the mix for a long time.
Yeah, and I had Abraham Answer to win outright, and Carlos Ortiz, two Mexicans that I thought would star really well. They both finished in the top 10. I think Ortiz, I talked about biorhythms last week. If Ortiz plays this good at this time of the year, and he finished fourth last week, I think, Diane, in Mayakoba, comes back here to defend this week. Nothing could be better than coming back to defend in a tournament when you're playing well. So Ortiz is in my mix, Diane, because he knows how to play this course. It was only 13 under, as I talked about a minute ago. I think he'll do well this week. I've also got Matt Wolff on the board. You just spoke of his name. He's the kind of guy that smashes it off the tee, as you spoke of, has a lot of spin, can play into these greens and hold them up on top. Always a question mark with Wolff with his chipping, because he plays a kind of a loopy swing, and it takes a while to make that develop in the chipping, and that's been his area. So can Wolff play wide enough to play this course as well? But Diane, the number one putter on the tour and the best scrambler of all time is my guy, Mark Leishman, who's in town this week. And I'm going to pick Leishman because he's kind of been, flirting with a lot of things, but this is perfect for him. The course is not in good shape. He grew up in Australia in Warrnambool. Lots of greens that are up like this is where he learned how to chip. He cuts his grass at his house twice a day, Diane. You've seen these stories that the grass is the same length as his paper. So he's not going to be afraid of all the chipping. And I think Leish is going to be Leish's week this week.
Wow, he's plus 4,000. So those are good odds for Leishman as well. I like that bold pick. As you say, putting is his forte, and you've always said that you could put him anywhere around the green and he's the guy that's going to get up and down. So I like it. A strong favourite. Good loyalty there. My favourite, it's not very exciting, I have to be honest. And you did mention him in the preamble, but I'm going with SUNGJAE as my outright winner. Good form, coming off that win at the Shriners, then a top 10 finish at the CJ Cup in Vegas a week after. And the big thing for him are the stats this week. And we know how consistent he is anyway, but he's second in scrambling, 6th in greens and reg on the tour. There's a question mark over his putting though. So these are the two things that were making me go back and forth. 76th on the tour for putting average, and he finished 50th last year in this tournament. So there was no spark last year. Something didn't go well for him, and he's not putting great. However, we know that these greens are going to be trickier this week with that high greens and reg stat. I'm hoping that he's just going to have a good proximity week and the putting will be easy. So I'm having SUNGJAE at 22-1 as my outright favourite.
No, I think he has the best stats this week by a mile. I mean, we haven't talked about Brooks Koepka. We haven't talked about a lot of guys. Tony Finau. We're looking at stats. SUNGJAE just won in Vegas. His putting was fantastic. I mean, he shot 1 million under out there, so everything's fine with SUNGJAE. I mean, I just didn't pick him because I probably knew you were going to do that. But it's the up and down game. This tournament this week, hardly anyone can win this event. This is a real rare week. It's kind of like, it's not Augusta, but not everyone can win at Augusta because they don't quite have the skill set. Guys like Ben Crenshaw come to the top. Guys that putted well. Jose Maria Olazabal that pitched the ball. Seve Ballesteros. So we're kind of in that field this week because of the elevation we talked about, and the turf is not very good. And what I mean by that, I've already said it, I'm going to say it again. You can't get the elevation out of a nasty turf. So it's better if you hit the green, but if you do, only the masters can really handle this turf conditions.
Okay. You mentioned Brooks Koepka. He actually worked with Tom Doak as a consultant on the redesign. So he's been heavily involved. It's no surprise that it's a bit of a bomber's paradise if Koepka was involved in the redesign and the renovation of this course. He finished 5th last year. Koepka's plus 3,000 this week, coming off a miscut in Mexico. I think he's a little bit of a danger this week in that he knows the course well. I think when he comes off a miscut, that's when he's really got a chip on his shoulder. So Koepka at 30 to 1, I mean, the stats aren't great for this season, but he hasn't played a lot this season. So I think he's definitely one to watch.
I don't agree, but that's okay. I think Koepka's maybe under contract still to play this tournament, and he never plays good when his baby brother's playing with him in the field. And I see his brother's playing this week. I think he babysits him all week and he forgets about his game. But no, I'm not looking at Koepka this week, Diane, only because I just don't think the motivation is heavy for him. Yes, he was involved in the design, but it's kind of a weird time of year for these star players to be here, superstar players. He'll have a lot of pride, and he played well here, as you noted, last year. Hits it long off the tee, has tons of spin, kind of like WOLFF, putts and chips, good enough. Won in Phoenix last year. Just does everything he needs to, but I'm not looking at him this week, no.
Okay, the outright favourite is Sam Burns this week, and it's hard to really see past that. Why didn't you pick Burns as your favourite?
Well, Burns is sensational young player, and I think he'll be there. You know, he has everything on this sheet right here that says he's going to play well, but I just have a feeling about, you know, superior chippers. Okay. You're going to miss. You're not going to hit 70% of these greens. Every one of these guys is going to miss 40% of them. So over 36 holes, 50% is 36. They're going to miss 25 greens. The leader is going to miss 25 greens. How do you play the 25 greens you miss? Do you play them 25 over? Do you play them even? I just think the best chipper and putter, they're all going to miss 30 greens. The Leishman's the best in that category, and that's why I put him on top.
It's funny to think where Sam Burns was this time last year, bearing in mind since then he's had 2 wins at the Valspar and at the Sanderson Farms. I mean, he's cementing himself as one of the elite players on the PGA Tour. He's 16 to 1, and this time last year at the Houston Open he was 100 to 1. So it just shows how he's had this phenomenal year, and it's no surprise he's at the top of a lot of people's boards this week.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, well, we have 2 more picks each that we're going to go through on the Tour Report. One to watch, and then that all-important dark horse pick this week for the Houston Open.
Get in the game on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app and play 4-ball. It's a classic stroke play competition based on the aggregate scores of 4 players. Who makes your team? Well, pick 4 guys, 1 from each tier, based on the current world golf rankings. Want a tip? You need 4 guys to make the cut. Get in the game on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app, available on iOS in the App Store.
Well, this week it's off to Houston, as you can see behind me. Memorial Park Golf Course. Elk, it's great, you know, the PGA Tour being in your hometown, but to have a PGA Tour event on a municipal course that people can go out and play for like $40, it's phenomenal for the city.
Not everybody can play it for $40. I think if you live in town, it's $40, but I think it's about $200 if you're coming from outside the loop, Diane. But that's okay.
Go with you.
It's a great venue because it's in the middle of the city, and it's awesome. And people go there by droves and droves and exercise, and it's beautiful. And as you can see, all those hardwoods back there, it's the most gorgeous park you've ever seen. Awesome.
Well, we're moving on to our ones to watch this week. So I think we've each got a couple of picks. Elk, do you want to go first or do you want me to go?
You go first.
Okay, right. Well, I've got 2, and the first one I'm just going to touch on quickly because I was so big on him last week. I've said everything I could possibly say. And Taylor Gooch delivered again in Mayakoba. We tipped him as one of our favourites. Ended up finishing 11th, which was a little bit of a shame. He fell away a bit on Sunday. It was Hovland's tournament by a mile, but he is playing so well. 11th, 5th, and 11th in his last 3 outings, and his stats are great. So 33 to 1. It's definitely worth watching Taylor Gooch. But my guy this week Finished 11th last year, and he is plus 6,000. I am looking at Shane Lowry. I think that's a really good number. I think that Lowry likes these tougher courses. He likes the challenging conditions. I think the greens and the green areas are going to suit his game. There's been a little bit of a question mark over his putting of late, but I mean, last year that was the problem for sure. And he still finished 11th. I think the fact that he's playing this week tells us something. You know, he obviously likes this course, and the putting has improved greatly, especially since the Ryder Cup, and it's looking like his good stat right now. So I think looking at how he played last year, that end result, the one stat that wasn't working for him, the fact that that's come together, I'm looking at Shane Lowry at 60 to 1.
That's a good pick. I mean, he grew up overseas, knows how to pitch the ball. You know, when you play a long golf course and you have two holes, two par fours that are over 500 yards, it's easy to bogey both of them. So you're 2 over in your mind. I mean, no tour player thinks of himself as being 2 over, but you can easily bogey a 520-yard par 4, considering one of them is the first hole. So it could be. So how do you play a really long course? You finish up hitting these longer irons, 6, 7 irons for these guys. You know, that's not that long, but you've got to, hit them solid. So the greens in reg stat becomes really important. I was looking at 2 players this week. Brian Stewart, who hit, I think, 75% of his fairways last week. He only finished 27th, which is a little bit, not awesome considering you hit almost every fairway, but he's playing good. He's a young guy. I was looking at him as one of my players, but the other one that I'm looking at the most, this sort of falls in that Will Zalatoris. You know the guy, Mito Pereira. Yeah. No, that's not it.
Pereira.
Mito Pereira.
Well, sir.
Yeah, I'm looking at Mito Pereira this week because, look, your pronunciations of players is way worse than mine, but that's okay. I think that's fair. I'm looking at this young guy, Diane. We've got Carlos Ortiz. Last year was able to play a really difficult course. He has shot over the moon since then. We just saw Lucas Herbert come out of nowhere in Bermuda. There's a big push, it seems, for some of these guys, Diane, to say, hey, I'm going to stake my claim. This kid is right out of tour school, right out of Corn Ferry. He's already had a couple good weeks, 7th in greens and reg. Could he pull this off? He's my one to watch this week.
Yeah, 70 to 1. Mito Pereira was the hot name coming off the Corn Ferry Tour, as you said, and top 10 finish right out of the gate at the Safeway, well, the Fortinet in Napa. And since then, I mean, 40th or 30th, coming off a miscut, but it's almost like these guys have to kind of bed themselves into playing on the PGA Tour and getting into a little bit of a routine. And with all that expectation and starting his PGA Tour career so well, of course it was going to fall a little bit. So maybe he's feeling a little bit more comfortable now. He deserves to be out there. This could be a good week for him, especially that greens and reg stat.
Well, I listen to the other tour players of who's good coming up. Hear it all the time. They're all telling me to watch out for this kid because he can hit it. So when you can hit it, then you can play a hard course. Some guys just can't play hard courses.
Okay. Right. We've got our dark horse picks, and you've told me that you're looking in the 300 to 1 region. So I'm going to start with mine because I'm really excited about my guy. He's 150 to 1, so he's well within that dark horse realm. And he just finished 15th at Mayakoba. Now his stats are really good. 18th at greens and reg, 33rd in scrambling, which are 2 of the really important ones for this week. He's hitting it great off the tee. He's not one of the longest hitters, but looking at his stats and being that good, he played, obviously last week in Mayakoba and in Bermuda the week before, and they didn't have shot link there. So I don't think his stats are as good as they could be if they had included all the shot link data. So I think Denny McCarthy is flying under the radar this week, and at 150 to 1, I think he is a good dark horse.
That's a good dark horse, Diane, but I've got one that's even darker than that because my pick this week is 350 to 1. and I'm going to tell you his name in just a second. But this kid, this young man, remember when Patrick Reed first burst on the scene and he went out and Monday qualified? I think he did it like 6 Monday qualifyings in a row. Well, this player, he's qualified. I think I talked to Sam at like 5:30 this morning. This kid's local. He's Monday qualified like 5 times in a row. He went to University of Lamar. He won 5 times over there in college. He holds the course record at the other Houston Open course at like 60. MJ Duffy is the local guy. He is going to be the next big thing that you'd never heard about. And the reason I like him the most, Diane, is because this is like his home course. He lives here. He's always playing there. He got a spot this week, given one by the tournament. He didn't have the Monday spot, but MJ Duffy is the next big thing you've never heard about at 350 to 1, Diane.
Okay, do you know, I was looking down our sheet and the only guy I could see that was 350 to 1 was Jim Herman. And I'm like, what kind of a case is Elk going to put forward for Jim Herman here? I like it. Mind you, he's Jim Herman's 13th greens and regs, so that stat's going to be in his favor this week. I like your pick. That is a completely under the radar pick.
Well, Stan, my son Stan went, saw him in college a lot, and they played a lot of golf. And he said, "This guy, Dad, never hits the center of the club face. I mean, it's insane how good this guy hits the ball." He says, "I cannot imagine this guy not being on tour." So, we've talked about this all the time on our show. Who has the most to gain? MJ Duffy certainly does this week because, let's face it, he doesn't want to keep Monday qualifying. So a good finish here could propel him and, get himself on tour. He's going to finish. He's going to be out there. Just a matter when.
I'm guessing he's a tier D pick on the SG Tour app this week.
He certainly is. And I've already picked him in a game or two. So I don't want to see it in there when I open your game one.
My guy, Denny McCarthy's tier C, so that keeps D wide open. But we do have some games running on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app this week, so you have to go on there and pick your 4-ball team. Now, the whole field is divided into 4 tiers based on their official world golf ranking, and you pick one from each tier, and then by the time Sunday rolls around, the lowest aggregate score wins. Now, Elk, I know you've got 2 games open, a $10 game and a $25 game, and the tour payout is always great because everyone wins a little bit of money.
Yeah, I didn't do good last week, Diane. I missed the cut in a couple of my players. Of course, and everyone else needs to know that you need 4 players to make the cut if you want to compete for the big cash. I had a terrible week. I even opened a moving day game on Saturday, and I think I finished last in that too. So I was way off last week in Maricopa, Diane.
Jay Kaplan, he texted me. He was so mad because he finished tied for first and then it goes to a playoff and he was like, how did I lose the playoff? So he was mad.
We just so everyone knows, in the playoff, we do it the way we do it for golf. We go to the highest the hardest hole on the golf course and we see what your team did on that hole. And it's a very fair way to have a playoff.
Jay does a great write-up for us every week as well that you can catch on all of our social media channels and on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app. We've got so much there. We'll be putting up more because Elk's hanging with the tour players and he is playing in the Pro-Am today. So you'll have to let us know how you get on.
I will do. I'm off to go do something.
You're off to do something?
Not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something.
Well, before we go, you played good last week, didn't you? Do you want to gloat about this a little bit?
No, I don't need to gloat about it. No, I was in Philadelphia and I won the pro member with my friend from Genius Golf, Chris Gallmeyer. We won that event up there, and I was low pro. But as Perez says, you're so ancient, nobody cares. Don't worry about it. So.
All right.
Well, I am playing really well right now. I got some new clubs, some new Titleist T100 iron that I am just so happy with. So I'm feeling good about it.
Okay, well, hopefully it's a bit of a stripe show out there today. Elk, thank you for all your picks. And, we will be back next week with the tour report. Get in the game on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app, and hopefully your team does well for you.
Play Money Grabber on the SG Tour. Instead of strokes, it's all about the cash. You pick a team of 4 players, 1 from each tier. and scoring is based on the money that your team wins. Your guys missed the cut? No problem, you're still in the game. The SG Tour Golf Gaming app, available on iOS in the App Store.